Once upon a time, in a small town surrounded by hills and rivers, lived a boy named John and a girl named Emily. John was a simple and kind-hearted young man, always smiling and helping others. He loved the peacefulness of nature and spent most of his time exploring the woods or sitting by the river. On the other hand, Emily was a bright and cheerful girl who loved to read books and dreamed of adventure. She had a curious mind and was always eager to learn something new. John and Emily had known each other since childhood, as their families lived in the same neighborhood. They went to the same school, played in the same park, and shared many memories growing up together. However, as they got older, they started to see each other differently. John began to notice how Emily's laughter made everything around him seem brighter, and Emily admired how John's kindness touched the lives of everyone he met. One sunny afternoon, as John was sitting by the river, he saw Emily walking along the path with a book in her hand. She seemed lost in thought, her eyes focused on the pages, unaware of the world around her. John smiled, knowing how much she loved to read, and decided to join her. He walked up to her and gently called her name, Emily. Startled, Emily looked up and saw John standing beside her, his warm smile making her heart skip a beat. "Oh, John, I didn't see you there," she said with a shy smile. "I didn't mean to scare you," John replied, sitting down on the grass next to her. "What are you reading today?" Emily held up the book, showing him the cover. "It's a story about adventure and love, two things I think the world needs more of," she said softly. Looking out at the river, John nodded, gazing at the flowing water. "I agree. Life is an adventure, and love is what makes it all worthwhile," he said, his voice gentle and thoughtful. For a moment, they sat in silence, enjoying the peacefulness of the afternoon. The sound of the river flowing, the birds singing in the trees, and the gentle breeze created a perfect atmosphere. John looked at Emily, her hair gently blowing in the wind, and felt his heart swell with emotions he hadn't realized were there before. He had always cared for Emily, but now he understood that his feelings went much deeper than friendship. "Emily," John began, his voice slightly shaky, "I've been thinking a lot lately. We've known each other for so long, and I can't imagine my life without you. You're more than just a friend to me." Emily turned to look at him, her eyes wide with surprise. She hadn't expected this, but deep down, she'd always felt a special connection with John too. She'd just never put it into words. "I feel the same, John," she whispered, her heart pounding in her chest. "You've always been there for me, and I can't imagine my life without you either." John smiled, relieved and happy to hear her words. He reached for her hand, holding it gently in his own. "I don't know what the future holds, but I want to face it with you, Emily. Will you take this adventure with me?" Tears of happiness filled Emily's eyes as she nodded. "Yes, John, I would love to." From that day on, John and Emily were inseparable. They continued to explore the woods and sit by the river together. But now, everything felt different. There was a new sense of closeness between them, a bond that went beyond words. They laughed together, shared their dreams, and supported each other in everything they did. Years passed, and their love only grew stronger. John worked as a carpenter, building homes for families in the town, while Emily became a teacher, sharing her love for books and knowledge with the children in the community. They built a life together, one filled with love, laughter, and adventure. Though they faced challenges along the way, they always stood by each other's side, knowing that as long as they were together, they could overcome anything. Their love was not just a fleeting romance. It was a deep and enduring connection that only grew stronger with time. One evening, as the sun was setting over the hills, John and Emily stood by the river, hand in hand, watching the colors of the sky reflect on the water. It was a moment of pure peace, and they knew that no matter where life took them, they would always have each other. "I love you, Emily," John said softly, squeezing her hand. "I love you too, John," Emily replied, resting her head on his shoulder. And so, their love story continued, simple yet beautiful, like the river that flowed through the town. They didn't need grand adventures or fairy tale endings, because they had each other, and that was more than enough. Together, they created a life full of love, and in the end, that was the greatest adventure of all. End of story. Listen to such interesting stories, like and subscribe our channel.